What up, peeps, and welcome back to At the Table. Now, if you clicked on today's episode because of the title, Stop Eating Like a Slave, it is true. We are going there. And today's guest is not afraid of that. In fact, he welcomes the difficult conversations because he has one primary goal: to help people live a healthier and happier lifestyle through veganism. His government name is John Lewis, but online people know him as Badass Vegan. He's an entrepreneur, public speaker, activist, social media comedian, thought leader, and I can say this, he is a really good friend. On the heels of his new movie release, They're Trying to Kill Us, he shares his thoughts on veganism and its role in race, culture, and even income.
Oh, wait,
Check
can I
out.
curse on here? I gotta
Oh,
ask.
yeah, no, you're fine. You're
Oh, fuck yeah. All right.
Oh, God. Yes, you have permission to be yourself.
Oh,
You are very far from lukewarm. I love your content. We don't always agree on everything from a food philosophy standpoint, but I love your advocacy work. If you've never followed him, or if you don't follow him, I encourage you to do so, because it's not just about the food. It's also how we are as people. And he shares content that will make you think. Some people will make you angry. But at the end of the day, what I've learned from the people that I've made angry, you still follow them. So
Yeah.
so it's like, I'm going to unfollow. But you didn't, because
didn't.
You're
I just
still
saw
here.
your
or the
post.
person that unfollows you but then sends you 25 DMs after that, trying to still plead their case. I'm like,
They're probably vegan.
yeah, it happens.
So, welcome. So, for those that are not watching this and listening, we are eating Iranian adasi.
Woo.
It's pretty good.
Adasi, you like it?
I've never had it.
It's a lentil stew, and just how people call dal is lentil, and and what they call it in India. Adas is that means lentil in Persian, I believe. Okay. And so adasi is soup. So
good.
this is a wonderful
good.
Iranian soup.
Be better with some chicken.
We better with some chicken. You're such a jackass.
We are starting now, and it begins.
How long have you been vegan, and what made you go vegan?
I've been vegan now 16 years, and it was a cocaine binge in Vegas. No, I'm just playing. Your face.
Whoa.
You're like, wow, this is really about to get interesting. Living in St. Louis, raised there. A lot of people don't know, I was actually a butcher at one point in my life. Like, crazy. I've done it all.
Okay.
And I got to grad school down in Fort Lauderdale, and I started noticing, like, everything, because in St. Louis, we have no culture. We have a culture, but it's like one thing. You eat McDonald's or fast food or soul food or whatever. So I get down to Fort Lauderdale, and it's all these different cultures.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm trying everything. And my stomach's like, this ain't really working like we thought it was. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna keep eating. So finally I went to the doctor at the university. Shout out to Nova Southeast University, is where I got my MBA. And so the doctor was like, do you eat a lot of meat? And, we lie. I'm like, nah, I don't eat a lot of meat. Of course, I have meat on top of meat while I'm eating meat. And I'm like, yeah. And so he's like, you should try vegetarian. Just try it out for like 30 days. Because I basically had IBS. And I'm like, you see how big I am, man? I got to have meat, this and that. Of course, I wasn't yelling at the guy, but that's the passion I have behind it. And
Well, one thing about John that you will notice is that he is very passionate. So even that he was definitely yelling at him by all standards. But if you have
You
to
wouldn't
know him,
consider it
yes.
yelling, but
And
other
I
people
wouldn't
would be
consider
like
it
that.
yelling either.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think outside of normal conversation, I can't be eating all that, man. What do you mean? It's like
what
that.
you mean I look mad? Yeah, happy.
Just trying to have a conversation here. What's going on?
Sorry.
So the doctor said try it. And I had a friend, frat brother, Marcus Marshall. He had passed away from sickle cell Halloween Day 2004. And so I went to the doctor like October 15th. And so after I did like some research or whatever, I still didn't go vegan. I was like, all right, I'll try this vegetarian thing out. As an ode to my friend, like him passing away. And I was like, man, maybe I need to take care of myself better, And within 2 weeks, I felt so much better. Like I was pissed that I felt better because like I can't lie, I love meat, dude. Like I did.
Yeah.
Like Philly cheesesteak was my weakness back in the day. So I'm like, all right, cool. Towards the end of the year, my mother was diagnosed with colon cancer. And that's when I like asked the doctors, like, whoa, how did this happen? What's going on? And they were like, too much animal protein, fried fatty foods. I'm like, wait a minute, this is not hereditary? And the doctor's like, nah, this is a lifestyle choice. And you know, if you really think about it, we've really been taught that everything that happens to us inside the body, you're supposed to happen. God wanted you to be sick. God wanted to test you. It's like, no, sometimes we just do stupid shit that we don't know we were taught to do this. And so that's when I changed, fully vegan, and then like just never went back since. And I didn't do it to start a company. I didn't do it to start an online profile. In fact, I didn't even make it public on Facebook at the time. Like there was no Instagram when I went.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I was doing it for me, and I just noticed I should start feeling like so much better. And like, and Kevin's giving me this face like he's waiting to.
Am I giving him the face?
Yeah, he giving
like
the face.
I mean,
Go
you're
ahead.
pondering over
Go
there.
ahead now.
No. Okay, I have a couple questions. And what you said about you were kind of angry that you felt like that because whenever I went vegan, when I did my 5-day vegan challenge back in 2015, I can't tell you how incredible I felt. And I was so mad too because I'm like, oh, now I got to find another talking point.
Yeah.
Because I literally said out loud to somebody, I said, yeah, I kind of feel like it feels so good as if this is the way that God intended for us to eat in the first place. And that belief hasn't changed. What I think has changed with me though is not the over reliance, but just the extremity of just anything, right? So I want to ask you, why was your takeaway, I got to go completely vegan or vegetarian at the time, not I got to incorporate a lot more vegetables into my diet?
Because I've always believed that if you go down the wrong path for so long, taking a couple steps backwards is not going to put you on the right path. Let me go ahead and start from scratch. Like I didn't think I was going to do it forever. But like you said, I felt so fucking good. I was like, damn, like, and so I had a good friend, Star Moon, shout out to Star Moon. A friend of mine is her sister, and she was vegan. She still is. And to be honest, if you think I am out there when like calling people out, like, especially when you're her friend, she would be like, the fuck you eating that dead ass pus for? And I'm like, damn, like I'm just eating my cheese. Like, what the fuck? Like, you know, like, but she would get you thinking. So she was like, when you go, you gonna feel the difference. Just watch. It's gonna be so different. I'm like, yeah, whatever. So I'm at the court playing ball one day, and I go to dunk the ball. And I literally felt this like surge of energy from my toe to when I dunked the ball in. But I'm on the court. I can't say shit to nobody else about this. I can't be like, yo, dog, you will not believe.
He's having a spiritual experience after dunking his basketball.
An electric surge, like Tinkerbell just went up like, and like, so I get to the car afterwards and I text her. I'm like, yo, you was right. Like, I just felt like this. She was like, I told you. She's like, you can't go back after that. And she was right. Like, it's like, when you feel that good, why? Like, why would you go back? Now, and I know some people have had some bad experiences when they transitioned over. I just haven't had that. So it's like, why would I go back? Like, and knowing, like, you know, rest in peace to Mom. She just passed away this year. Knowing all the complications she had from all the food she was eating, like, I literally have an example of what not to do. So why do that?
Veganism or plant-based. And I'll say it too. The reason why I even stopped saying things like, hey, this is a vegan recipe, I'll say a plant-based recipe, is because like I associate veganism with activism. Like they're just inseparable because they're talking about zero product from any animal for any purpose.
For me, I'm vegan. So I guess I went plant-based, and it was like the more and more I learned about it, it was like, damn, that's fucked up over there, and that's messed up over here, and like, which kind of led to the film. Like, as far as like, I just learned more and more and more about what it did to the community, what it did to the animals, and I was in an interview with CNN actually. So let's say you're on death row. He's like falsely accused, I like how you put that in. He's like, falsely
Yeah.
accused, of course.
Yeah.
But you're on death row, and he's like, what would be the last meal you would have? I was like, man, I make this bomb-ass vegan nachos. It's crazy. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me you don't want like a nice, juicy ribeye steak? You know, it's your last day on earth. And without hesitation, I'd never been asked this question before, but I meant it from the heart. I said, well, just because I'm dying, why the fuck somebody else got to die? And like his face actually let me know that like, he was like, damn, I never thought of it like that. I was like, yeah, like, because I'm going out, like, I got to go take out this animal. And so, like, while I went vegan for health reasons, all the other spectrums started coming in later on. Like, at this point, let's be honest. Anything that we do to hurt animals is just strictly ego at this point. We know we can make it without eating animals. It's ego. We feel like we own the earth. We really do. But if humans were wiped off the earth would throw a party. Like we fucking this shit up totally.
Well, you saw that with the pandemic and the way that nature, quote unquote, bounced back when everybody was on
They
lockdown.
came out to the streets. They was like, we in the streets.
Literally, we seeing penguins in the middle of the freeway. I'm like,
Yep.
oh, this is brand new. This idea, though, of something else having to die, and so that way you can be fed and nourished. I never thought about it like that. Have you thought about eating meat like that?
No, I haven't. Mm-mm.
And I feel like it's just because there is a disconnect on where people can understand like where their food comes from. Like we know what the food is, but when you know where it comes from, it becomes like much harder.
Right.
And I see that myself doing some of the travel stuff and watching them take like a live animal.
Yeah.
You know, I saw that in Thailand in some of the markets. And I love chicken. I'll tear it up in a heartbeat. But when seeing it wring the neck and all that, it's just like, okay, this is a little too much, right?
Yeah.
And so I wonder if there's a lot more transparency and education about the way that food actually makes it to our plates. If we'll see a larger
I
push.
think so.
You think?
Yeah, I think so. It's just that people don't want to know at the same time. I really think we'll see it, but I really think people don't want to know. Well, and my thing is too, I think superfoods is a bullshit word. I'm gonna be honest. Like, there's no such thing as a superfood. Food does what it's supposed to do, but it's like a soldier. If you're putting this in your body to give your body ammunition to fight whatever it's got to go throughout the day. But if you're putting the enemy in the body and you're putting the soldier in there with no weapon,
it's been called a superfood because we just haven't had it enough. Or
Exactly.
something like that.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
all of a sudden the effects of it are like,
it's helping a deficiency at that point. So of course you're gonna feel an instant boom. Well, damn, that felt great.
yeah.
What if a lot of the health ailments is because there's no balance?
Right.
Because we do see people living for a long period of time, and they do have a mixed diet. Now, their diets are primarily plant heavy, plant dominant, which I think it's a great takeaway in learning. I love that.
Yeah.
You know, but it's not fully vegan. Explain that to me.
So I say this, like people always say, well, you know, our brains developed because we ate animal protein and the fats from the animal protein. That's what got our brain to develop to where we are today. And I'm like, well, do you think this is the perfection? Do you think this is do you think this is the ultimate form of human? Or do you think possibly, let's just be honest, we're basing it off of people, because a lot of people use cavemen. I don't use cavemen as a reference from my ancestors, but for this story, we'll go with it because people use it a lot. I'm like, you're basing your data off of people that not only ate their own shit, had sex with their own kids, and now you're saying that they got it right. But we've seen the power of eating plants and what it does to our brain, our body, everything. What if we got it wrong and we're just now getting back to the right path?
Okay.
I'm just saying, I could be wrong, I could be right. I'm just saying, though, but it's worth putting it out there.
Yeah.
So the film is called They're Trying to Kill Us. And you alluded to this earlier, that it's not just about the food and the health issues, but it's about what the production of products that use animals is also hurting the community.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, so a perfect scene in the movie. Without giving away the movie, I can talk about this scene. So I went to go see a hog farmer in North Carolina, and he basically is like an incubator. He gets the pigs at 5 weeks old, and he gives them to the slaughterhouse at 25 weeks. So for 20 weeks, they're with him. Now, what's crazy is that these hogs never see daylight. But people think now mind you, it's acres and acres of farmland, but they're in a damn hut for 20 weeks. They never get to leave. They don't get a bath. They don't get sunlight. There's little holes in the floor, so when they shit and piss, it goes through the holes. Like they're living in their own, it's crazy. As I'm interviewing him, he shows us these lagoons. And these lagoons, he has 3 lagoons on the property. And we walk out on top of one lagoon, which I'm already a little nervous about. It's got a covered tarp. But I'm like, man, this tarp, it gives way. We're fucked. Because under this tarp is pig waste. Oh. Now
You're walking on top of the tarp?
Yeah. It's in the film. I'm on top of the tarp. And you can probably see the nervousness in my face in the movie. I'm trying to hold it together, but I'm like, I told my co-director Keegan, I said, man, if I fall through, just let me go. Because I don't want to come back after this.
Just let me go.
Just let me go, dude. If I fall in, and so now he's got 3 of these lagoons. Guess how much is in one lagoon?
I don't know. I couldn't even guess. I don't even know what a good guess would be.
Tons.
Okay, tons.
Yeah.
About 500,000 gallons. So what do you do with
pig
poop and piss?
What are they doing with that?
Good question.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you. You are leading to the reason of another reason for veganism for me. So all these farms, where do they locate themselves? Next to communities of color, minorities, underprivileged, all this. So when they can't do it, nobody's walking around to buy pig poop or cow poop or chicken poop, whatever farm it is. Now imagine, this is one farm in North Carolina, and they got this much poop. They have what they call spray fields. So what they do is they spray the poop over the fields as manure and to help it grow. But the air conditioning's on in here right now, right?
Doesn't it contaminate the?
Because it's spraying. Yeah,
contaminates water. All it takes is one breeze, and it's gonna blow. Yeah. So we had test run on houses in the surrounding communities. We tested the kitchen table, the toys, the walls, the tables, the couches. All came back with pig poop. So these people are living in this. They're breathing this all day. Yeah. So when we're interviewing these people, they're like, you can't even you can't eat your food without tasting pig shit. Mm-hmm. So one of the ladies who we interviewed, she actually passed away afterwards. Very grateful that she did that for us. But she's telling us the story of how they have to live in this. Wow. So you're sick. So every time people Bud Bacon, it's okay, you're supporting that too. So that's another aspect. It's all right, cool. You got your taste buds, but you're ruining their life. It always comes back to I only buy grass fed and this and that. It's going in the same pocket.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People don't it's I don't like Gap and I don't like Banana Republic. I only shop at Old Navy. It's the same fucking pocket. At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? And so the communities that are affected the most by pollution produce the least amount of pollution in America. Ain't that crazy?
No, it's actually understandable.
Mm-hmm. So they suffer the most about it.
Income.
Well, because think about it. The nice, glitzy, pretty areas, they ain't going to keep the ugly shit around. They're going to dump it off on the communities of color.
Right.
So you're going to find the landfills and everything out there by people that can't afford to move away from it. While Beverly Hills looks great.
Right. Explain what you mean by that. As far as the farms being located next to communities of color.
It's the cheapest land. One of the women that we interviewed, she was telling the story how her land was basically stolen. She finally got her land back, but after 30 years. So basically, her great-grandfather was a slave. He was awarded land when he was released. So it was 30 acres.
Yeah.
This lady's not walking around 30 acres every day to check it.
Right.
Come to find out, a hog farm has set up in the backyard about 20 acres back.
Yeah.
She don't know. But by law, because they had been there so long, she couldn't fight, and she didn't have the money to fight at the time until people stepped in to help her. So they took her land. Yeah. And they were like, look, we've been here already. Get over it. That basically was what they were telling her. It's our shit now. Yeah. We came in, we took your shit, deal with it.
Yeah.
And so these people, they're not living in the best means as it is.
Right.
So it's cheap land, so they go over there, and then let's be honest. Again, if they try to set that shit up in Beverly Hills,
No.
who gonna let that happen?
Nobody.
You know what I'm saying? Beverly Hills, whatever area you live in, wherever you're watching this podcast, hearing it, your most fruitful city. Think about if somebody tried to go set up a slaughterhouse right there, because you got to also think the blood, the guts is contaminated land. So that's another problem. It's contaminating the drinking water and the land water around these areas too.
Yeah.
So it's crazy, man. It's
affecting a lot more of the rural community,
Exactly.
rural and lower income. You made this comment, this post one time. I was telling Jesse about it, and I remember I had a really strong reaction to it, and I've almost got. Okay, why are you laughing?
I don't know, because I want people to understand this before he continues. We're boys, but I want people to understand this too. You don't always have to agree on every fucking thing.
Right.
You could have contacted me and I could have been like, well, I could have been all in my feelings. Like, well, fuck you. You didn't like my post. Well, like, that's not how friendship is. Like, he didn't come to me disrespectful either. He was like, yo, man, I think, this and that. But go ahead, finish. I just want people to understand that, like, you can have a disagreement and still be boys and family and whatever. It's how the approach is.
Yes.
So go ahead.
Yeah, we've lost that ability to do that as a society. So I find it very rare to actually have people like, All right. And you had posted this thing, and it was around Thanksgiving time frame, and it kind of touches on this idea that what you were talking about with your friend when she was like, "Why you eating that puss pop or whatever that was, that puss sandwich," which is just like so disrespectful.
It was puss, but we know what's on Kevin's mind.
Oh, sorry.
I was about to say, I was like,
I'm sorry.
I'm not going to correct him because I want that soundbite.
And you said something to the effect of,
I don't remember. I make so much fun. I make so many
he
posts.
does. He makes.
I make
he
like
be
7
reckless,
posts a
bro.
day.
He does. About people eating like slaves, black people eating like
Oh
slaves.
yeah.
And it really bothered me because I'm just like, and it bothered me for several reasons. I just felt that it was disrespectful to the ancestors, in the sense that, like, especially when it comes around like to the holidays and making those special dishes around a certain time of year. Part of that honoring is appreciating like where it comes from. So if people are preparing it in similar ways, I do agree, we don't have to do all of that, but to position it like that, I just thought was a line stepper. Now I've changed a little bit, but I want you to go ahead and explain that post.
So the post was,
and the recklessness of it.
The post was, if we aren't slaves anymore, why are we still eating like that? So that's what it was.
Yeah.
And to go along with what you're saying is that, you felt that it was disrespectful to the slaves and what they went through. Enslaved people, because I'm working on terminology now. Those that were enslaved. But my take is, I think it's disrespectful to not to keep doing that. They were forced to do it.
Correct.
I think they went through the battleground and went through the fucked up shit, so we don't have to do it anymore. So it's like, I think it's more disrespectful to keep doing it when we don't have a whip on our back, when we're not living in a cottage. That's me. So it's like, our ancestors went through so much so that we wouldn't have to go through it anymore.
So we would have a choice.
But if the choice is not good for us,
well, that's your own interpretation, right? Because veganism.
That was my interpretation on my page, right?
Yeah, okay, correct. Well, of also the food though, right? Because there are certain things, but if so, it's nuanced, right?
Right.
Because I actually tend to agree with you a little bit more. Right now,
that was like 4 years ago.
It does line up with the same thinking from earlier in the conversation, where it's like, even just whatever, hunter-gatherer, like even before slave times, it's like people all across the world ate what they had. If you live near the ocean, you're eating a lot of fish.
Yeah.
If you live inland, you're eating cow. You're still eating vegetables and stuff like that. They didn't necessarily have a choice because they needed to survive.
Right.
But now we live in a day and age when
we do
have
have
a choice.
Yes, we got a choice.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
And I think a thing to realize too is there was a choice back then. The knowledge wasn't there. Not saying that anybody was stupid. It's just, look, like literally look at what we're doing right now. We're sitting at a table with cameras around, microphones.
Yeah.
They didn't have that fucking option back then.
right?
If somebody did learn about a certain way to eat, a certain way to live, By the time they got the information, it was 100 years later because it took that long for the information to get over to another. Like, literally, by the time we post this, it's going to spread to 700 countries. I think there's only 260 something. Like, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's going to spread to everybody. So I think there's so many factors that we have to put into play for today that just wasn't there back then.
Right.
And once we do that, and I think too, because I get emotional about shit too. Like, I've had to learn to like really take emotion out of a lot of stuff. Like, you know, like, yeah, I know that's an emotional topic to talk about what slaves eat and how they lived. But I also like, all right, would the enslaved people care about our feelings today, or would they care about us living our best life? You know what I'm saying? They're like, look, I went through this. Look what I went through for you to be like, you know what, cool, I'm going to have a double bacon.
Right.
And I'm taking Lipitor while I'm eating it.
Right. And that's what people do. And,
Yeah.
And sadly, now, I would say this, that the only thing about that is that if people want to make that one time of year because it was grandma's recipe and whatnot, and this has been passed on, I don't think it's necessarily fair to put them in the same category as eating like a slave. Now, a person that was eating like a slave, first off, just that terminology, that actually means like a perpetual state. Like that is your regular diet. That's your, right?
Yeah.
But if I sit down at someone's house, at my mom's house, and they're and she's making a recipe that's been passed down for generations, I'm gonna say that's not eating like a slave. That's gonna be, I'm honoring the past. And so I think with veganism, going back to the whole thing about the pus sandwich, it's all connected. Does veganism do they have a marketing issue, like an outreach issue? Just because I feel like I'm eating my own meal. No one, absolutely no one. Why are you eating that puss sandwich? No one, absolutely no one. You eating like a slave. It doesn't mean that what you're saying is wrong, but if you're saying that if your end goal is to help people to understand what food is doing to them, I don't think that that's the right way to go around about doing it. I think whenever I mention veganism or vegans, to non-vegans, all of a sudden it's like a visceral reaction. Like, oh, that's why when you said you can't tell them it's like that, it's not the fact that I think that fundamentally people desire to be healthy. People want to eat a lot more vegetables. What they don't want, though, is they don't want to be preached at. They don't want to be talked down to. That they don't want to be scolded for something that they grew up eating. And so I really think that veganism has a really big messaging issue if they really want to get this widely adopted, because the reality is veganism is growing. Veganism is also very small. Vegans are also the loudest people in the room. And I've seen this too with my own content. Like, people be like, post more vegan stuff, post more vegan. And everyone's saying that. I've started posting vegan stuff.
And then other people,
First off, the difference is non-vegans don't comment ugly stuff.
That's
the way that
bullshit.
Vegans
on your page.
Well, on his page. Okay, we're gonna come back to that. I purposely want to go and troll him because of stuff he be posting, but they don't really do that, all right? And all of a sudden I'm like, well, where's all this enthusiasm coming from? And it hits me. Vegans are the loudest people. It represents they're a smaller minority, but they look like 80. Well, they look like 51% of the population.
Right. Yeah.
When they're really 10. Yeah. Less than that.
Yeah.
Because I think their messaging and their approach has been so for so long.
I would say though, and you could tell me if I'm wrong. I will post something like that once or twice a year. Most of my stuff is comedy. Like, really, I'm about laughing. Like, I just posted about the turkey necks looking like turkey dicks. Like, I did. If you go check my post, and I was like, because the first picture was just the neck, and it looked like balls and a penis. But then you pan out, and it's a turkey, and it's like, and y'all put this in y'all greens. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because your first reaction is to get disgusted, and then you're like, oh damn, I really do that. Yeah. The word veganism just came around in like the 80s. But people that didn't eat meat or any animal products has been around since the beginning of time. So let's just hypothetically, which I really think is a true thing too. Let's say there was somebody that was enslaved that did not eat meat or dairy. Can he say no on the plantation?
Okay.
Or was he forced to eat that shit?
I just, my mind can't even comprehend somebody having a food allergy.
No, not an allergy.
Or just saying that I can't eat dairy.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, if they were forced to do it back then, we're not forced now. Because there are tribes, communities, whatever word you want to use in Africa, or Native Americans, because I interviewed Native Americans as well for this, that are plant-based. If you are a person that doesn't eat that, can you tell the slave owner, like, hey, bro, I know all you got for us is like oxtail and giblets and this meat and dairy. Can I get like some fruit or something? Do you think they got that option? They don't. So it's like if they didn't have an option, we have that option now. When I'm calling that out, I'm calling the whole movement of enslavement. Like, again, it's not like I didn't say slaves were stupid. I said, if we are not slaves anymore, why are we eating like slaves? We're not being forced to.
Well, first off, let me just go ahead and say this then.
For everybody that doesn't know, I love Kevin. Okay?
Yeah, yes. And for everyone that doesn't know, I love John a lot, right? That statement in and of itself, eating like an enslaved person, is actually fundamentally and factually wrong and incorrect. Because the stuff that I eat during Thanksgiving and stuff that you're posting about is not the type of stuff that they had access to. They had the actual scrap, like pig's feet,
exactly,
hooves,
exactly.
and the innings and the inners of.
I was born in Little Rock. They still eat that. My family
exactly,
does, so,
exactly. But the majority of families, in modern day, they may have some of that stuff, but they're not, and so it's just. It's good shock value, but it's factually just not true, right? Now, yes, again, it goes back to this. I think where there's agreement and there's alignment is that we have a choice now, and why would you choose to do things that are harmful for your body, especially when other people that actually fought for you to even have a right to even have an opinion, you know?
That's a major
so
fact.
I think that we're aligned with that.
Yeah.
If people just want to do that like once or twice a year, do that, I think that's fine. But we get caught up into, and I think this is just about society in general, we kind of get caught up into this like shock value thing. Like if we, God, I don't know if we can put this in there, but even with some of the stuff in recent times with the protest, we'll say certain things as their shock value, but it's not necessarily like what they actually mean. And I had this conversation with somebody about defunding the police, and they're just like, they want to take all the money away. It's like, actually, it doesn't really mean that. It doesn't mean that at all. It actually, my point is, we're in this society now where we say these things for like shock value, you know, to get stuff going, but at what expense? Like, so in this example, we're saying things, you know, stop eating this and that and yada yada, but it's at the expense of, I think it's actually making people less sympathetic to the vegan movement and a whole lot more resistant to even opening up to being plant-based. That's what I mean. Like, I really do think that veganism has a messaging issue more than anything else, because if you really do care about the animals, you're sacrificing that. You don't care about the animals, because there is no reason why you and your grown self should be on my page spreading hate about the stuff that I'm choosing to put into my...
He's not talking about me, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not talking about him at all, because he does mind his own business. He doesn't care.
No, I do.
Yeah.
In fact, he might post a steak picture, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make a vegan version of this, dog. Thank you. Like
inspiration.
Yeah, but and just to go along with what you're saying, I truly believe like a person's content on their page, I have nothing to do with that. And a lot of times I get tagged on stuff and people like I'm Big Brother or something. Look what they just posted, badass vegan. I'm like, I don't care.
You're
like,
supposed to go track them down.
Yeah, there's a couple pages I actually blocked, and I didn't block them because of anything that they did. I blocked them because people kept tagging me in their posts. Yeah. And I'm like, they probably think I'm sending these people over here. And I'm like, dude, I don't care what you post on your page. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my thing. Like, I get it. Vegan has such a negative connotation to it a lot of times. Like, this is how I get people. I'm like, they'll be like, I've never had vegan food. I'm like, never? They're like, no. I'm like, so you never had an apple? And they like,
Right.
they're like, well, yeah. I'm like,
Well, that's
that's vegan. I'm like, don't let all this mock meat shit fool you. Everything before, because when I went vegan, none of this shit was out.
Right.
We had Boca Burger, and that was it. Like that was
Oh wow.
Boca.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they still. I think they still around. Like they some of the OGs out there, but and it while it was processed, it's still way less processed than a lot of stuff today. But again, I'm not knocking anybody doing the thing. Like at that moment, you're not killing nothing. You know, it might be a little bit high on the fat. Like I'll be looking at some of these burgers. I'm like 21 grams of fat. I'm like, damn. Like what is?
It's the exact same
That's
as a
half my
beef
day.
burger. It's the exact same.
Yeah.
The macros are the exact same as a beef burger.
Yeah, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to appeal to people so they can feel like they're getting the same thing. But I'm like, if you're going for health reasons, then I don't understand.
What's good for the environment? Yeah, but once the factory does all that processing, it's
Exactly.
to get there. Plus the water it takes to harvest some of that stuff.
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah, I know that a lot of like vegans have communication problems. I'm gonna leave it at that, or have trouble.
No,
with
don't leave it at
communication.
that. We stay in that for a minute. It's refreshing to hear a
kinda
vegan.
part of it, right?
Yeah,
but,
that's
but,
a huge.
But
part
I get a
of
lot
it.
of shit because I'm that vegan. Like I'm the vegan that'll be like I got a post I'm waiting to put out. I put it out every year, and I say, yeah, you can't go vegan for health reasons, but then you got a heart still full of hate. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of vegans out there that like, I went to save my soul and I'm saving the animals, but you spew hate at everybody else.
Yeah. Thank you. Can we pull
Yes,
over for
let's say
that?
that.
Because that's
We can pull over, look at the sunset. We talk about that one.
no,
shit.
this is one that actually really, really, really gets me going, and part of the reason why I've never let something make me not be vegan. Got it? You care about the animals, but I'll be darned if you watch somebody die in the middle of the street and you caring more about Fido than that actual person.
Yeah.
It's disrespectful, like on another level. And as a black man, just seeing somebody care about I remember in my last neighborhood too, it used to just burn me up. I'm walking Max. Hey Max, don't speak to my dog if you don't speak to me. You know, like don't look me in
man.
look me in the
Yeah,
eye.
yeah,
You know, but I know that's just a small example, but that's the way
But
that
it
a lot of
happens,
people.
though.
Yes,
People think you're overreacting when you talk like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's not even
It's
that's not even
infuriating.
only vegans.
Yeah.
That's just
yeah,
fucking society. Like
yes,
And I don't want to say what society, but we know what society that is. Like a lot of that is just some white shit. Like, sorry, it is what it is. And then so one thing that we've talked about a lot in like more of like the vegans of color like circles is that there's a lot of fucking racism in veganism, but people don't want to talk about it.
right.
Like I get all the time where there's they support certain movements, they support certain actions,
yeah,
but then they're all about Fido. Like fuck
Yes.
black people, but Fido is important. Or save the cow. Black people, they don't need fucking help. Like it's like, wait a minute, what? Like yeah.
or speciesism.
Speciesism, yeah.
You
That
know
happens like
speciesism?
crazy.
I
You like
haven't heard that
speciesism
term.
is? Yeah, see, it's all right. So you wouldn't
Yeah.
eat Max, but you will eat,
Yeah.
Bevo the cow.
Right.
So it's favoring some species over others. And when I heard that, I did chuckle at first. I was like, this is probably not real. Sure enough, it's a really big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easier for me to speak up for a fucking animal than for a human, because if I speak up for that human,
Well, you can speak for the animal instead of you not letting the
Exactly.
actual people group talk.
exactly. Because also too, now if you speak up for the human, you have to admit, maybe not what you did, but what your people did. When you speak up for the animal's not gonna be like, well, wait a minute, what about all this other stuff that happened back there?
Yeah.
So like it's a big thing, man. It's a huge thing, but that's something that like those are conversations that have to happen, because if they don't happen, if we keep brushing shit under the rug, eventually the shit's gonna form a mound under the rug and we're gonna trip over it.
Right.
Like that's what we keep doing. We keep thinking like if we don't talk about it, it never happened. Like I honestly believe, and this is outside of veganism, when they talk about we need to talk about what actually happened in this country so that white kids understand and learn more about what happened. I'm like, but what about this too? What if they're missing a key factor here? we need to talk about it more so that the children of color understand what happened. Because also, we won't do certain actions if we understand what our ancestors went through for us to even be here.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but they don't want, like, they don't think, well, they probably did think about that part. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just be honest. Like, there's a progression that comes with knowledge.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because let's be honest, I definitely don't think white people are bad. There's some fucked up white people, but as a whole, no. Just like I got robbed by a white person, I've been robbed by a black person.
Right.
I'm gonna be honest. It's happened both ways.
Yep.
So do I hate everybody in each culture because of that? No. I'm still cautious. And this is fact. Nobody's born racist.
Yeah.
You're taught that shit.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I remember posting a video of a white girl talking to her dad, and the dad was like, they want to be in poverty. They want to be in this. And the girl was like, Dad, no, they don't. Like, no, you know, they act this way. She's like, because they've been taught that way. They think that's all that's all available to them. So of course that's what they think. No, that's just what they want. She was like, you got to be careful around them. She's like, Dad, like most kidnappings happen by white guys. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't want to talk about that part. Like, there's fucked up shit happening everywhere.
Yeah.
We just got to get the good people to actually speak up.
Yeah.
And come together. But that's another soapbox.
No, this is I love this soapbox, and we can sit here for as long as you want.
Yeah.
But I like that the way you ended that. We need the right people, the good people in this scenario to go and speak
The
up.
bad people are too loud.
Who are the good people in the vegan community to help out with this message of plant-based for everybody and also less harm to animals?
You know who does a great job of that?
Who?
I got to give it up for my sis Tabitha, man.
Oh, yes.
Tabitha does a fucking amazing job.
Yeah.
And she won't say fucking.
She
but I'm
won't.
going to say it for her. Love you, girl. But she does an amazing job of just like, it's just this love, man.
It's
Like,
acceptance.
and to be honest, that's my primary message. I'm gonna talk shit. I'm gonna crack a joke here and there.
Yeah.
But like I said, you'll never see me. I ain't calling nobody a bitch. I ain't calling nobody a whore, a punk, a pussy, a puss, or a puss, or what. Like, but that's not my motif. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna crack a joke, and then the funny part is, if you check the caption, it's like a motivational speech. Like, I go into a dissertation half the time, and I stopped using I and you. I started using more we and us in the captions, or even in the post. Like, we can do better, man.
Okay.
Instead of being like, you can do better, I'm like, no, we can do better. And I that's why I share my past a lot too. Like, look, man, I was there. I was obese. I was 315 as a freshman in high school. I was a butcher. I sold dope. I did all this stuff that I wasn't supposed to do, but that don't mean you gotta stay there. You can change.
Right. Is there a scenario where you do reimagine your outreach that looks a little bit more like Tabitha Brown's? You can have the the expletives. I read her book twice. It's, if anyone's listening to this right now, well, not if. For those listening to this right now, you really should go and read her book. It is one of the most wholesome things you'll read. It's one of the most motivational reads. But her message has always been about acceptance, and I think her most memorable or her famous quote is,
Don't hurt nobody else.
yeah, that's your business.
Yeah.
That's your I like to put paprika in my mind, but you know that's your business.
Yeah.
And I think that approach to veganism is what's needed, in the sense that, like, here's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do it, that's your business. I watched her rise, even though not realizing that her journey has been 27 years in the making. She's been at this for a long time,
wow,
which gave me, I was like, oh, you need to toughen up.
Yeah.
You ain't seasoned enough. I'm still doing that, but the fact that she's able to do that, and she got so many people. I saw when she did like the carrot bacon.
Yeah.
And I watched people follow her first, initially, especially our community, to laugh and because it was people were sharing, like, look at this, she eating
With
carrot
her fro.
bacon and eating carrot bacon, and it was so funny, until it wasn't funny, until it was more like, well, maybe I should try it, because she does see. But she never once had a post like, or said anything like, ooh, why you eating a regular tuna, or why you doing this over here?
Yeah.
Why do you? Oh my God, you got to stop.
Yeah.
Don't. Look.
Yeah.
Is there ever a reality in which you can reimagine your outreach strategy still
No.
with all the comics and okay.
No, because and the only reason why I say that is because I believe not just with the movement of veganism or black veganism or whatever, however you want to look at it. I believe with every movement, everybody got a different lane.
Right?
I believe like we all going down the same highway, but we all in a different lane. Like her lane is that. Like I'm still, but see, I'm also the guy that while I'm gonna talk shit on my page, like I said, I ain't going out to nobody else. I will never do that.
You talk stuff on my page all the time, bro.
Yeah, but it's
I'm
you.
kidding, I'm
Like,
kidding, I'm
but
kidding. I love
it'll
it.
be an inside joke. But I'm still,
Yeah.
in all honesty, I've never been like, man, why you putting all this meat on your page? Like, that's not my thing. Like, I'll crack a joke, like I said, like I'll be like, yo, I bet I can make this fire as a vegan dish,
Yeah.
something like that. I think that while we all got our own lane, it's all for the same outcome, and I do believe in getting somebody in, and I also believe in I'm that guy that like I don't care if you're not vegan. Like, do I want the whole world to be vegan? Yeah, but if I know people that wouldn't be at this table right now.
Yeah. Oh, I'm pretty sure.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? So that's not me. Like my thing is like I want to get the attention there. And then I want to give you the knowledge while I'm giving you attention. Okay. You might be mad at the way I got you there. But if you hang around for a little bit, I'm like a Bobby Knight coach.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to fucking yell at you. But man, the plays I got, if we run these plays, we got some championships in the wait. But it's going to be a little hard nosed, but we going to get there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I did not know that, but you are the Bobby Knight of vegans.
Yeah, I'm the Bobby Knight of vegans, man.
Yeah,
If you can hang on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We probably gonna run more than everybody else. We gonna dive on the floor for loose balls more. We gonna get down and dirty.
But
We
you're
gonna win. That's it.
Love it.
That's it. We
That
gonna
is-
win.
What an awesome way to end this discussion, man. I really appreciate you spending some time with us.
Seriously.
What's next for you and how can we support you?
It's a lot, man. Got the protein shake that's been doing really well. Nature Aid. We got it in Costco, Target.
That's your brand?
Yeah.
Nature Aid.
Nature Aid. I partner with
Nature Aid.
my frat brothers. We really went hard on that. It's been going real well. We got Magic Johnson as a partner. Grant Hill as a partner.
Right.
Then we got the book. Like I said, the book is March 14th. My good friend,
The book is called
Badass Vegan.
Okay.
They fucked up and let me call it Badass Vegan. It's going down. Signed with Avery, who is under the Penguin Random House umbrella. So very excited about that. The film, working on some distribution with that. And as a lot of people don't know, so I have a company called Peace on Mars as well, which this here says from Mars. But a lot of people don't know. So my daughter's name is Pax, which is the Roman goddess of peace. And my son's name is Mars, which is the Roman god of war. So that's where I got Peace on Mars from. And a lot of people always say, they're like, well, why did you name your kids after the Roman gods? I was like, well, if you look in the history books, actually a lot of the original Romans were black. But nobody thinks about that. So just a little history lesson there. But Peace on Mars, I got we got a comic book coming out for it. Anthony Piper, I don't know if you ever heard of him. So he started a cartoon called Trill League.
Okay.
And it's like a parody on Marvel and Warner Brothers and everything. But 50 Cent picked him up to like do an actual like cartoon on it. So he's actually the artist for my
For the book.
for the book. Yeah, for the comic book. So,
Oh.
That's cool.
yeah.
Thank you, bro.
Thank
to plants.
To plants.
Let's go. Yeah.
Let's go. And fucking that soup. Woo. Yeah.